What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me on the first episode of our new series. And we are calling this In the Pink. So thanks for joining me for the first episode of In the Pink. And if you don't know what that term means, it came to be in the 1500s, before pink was even identified as a color. But in the pink meant to be in ideal and optimum health and happiness. So it's kind of fitting that I'm going with In the Pink. So on our first episode of In the Pink, we are covering gut health and we are filling in that blank. Today, we're filling it in with the microbiome. We're starting very basic because if you don't understand what the microbiome is, none of this will make sense. But I'm gonna always start out with the what we know. So my first what we know, we are roughly covered with 40 trillion bacteria cells in our gut alone. And this is collectively known as the microbiome. Now, to put that in perspective, we only have about 30 trillion human cells. Only listen to me. But that just gives you a good perspective on how prominent and how important it is to keep our microbiome healthy. And my second what we know that the microbiome can be balanced or imbalanced, right? It is this ratio between good bacteria and bad bacteria that make up this gut lining. And it's really important that we have that balance in check. Otherwise, we end up in dysbiosis. And my last what we know. So let's cover when this whole microbiome thing gets planted, okay? We are first exposed to our mother's microbiome as we are delivered through the birth canal. We get our first gulp of mom's microbiome. But what is fascinating and what we're not quite sure about yet is now there's evidence that's suggesting that even while we are still in mama's womb, we are starting to populate that microbiome. And my last what we know that a diverse microbiome, meaning many varieties, many strains of these good gut bacteria, is considered a healthy place to be, a happy place to be. And to reach this, we need a diverse diet rich in plant-based nutrients that come from whole foods. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to defining what probiotics are and what prebiotics are and why there's a difference. Well, probiotics, it's becoming a more and more familiar term. That is considered a good microbe, a good gut bacteria. We want this diverse. This is what we're talking about. And they come in two main categories. We have our lactobacillus strains and our bifidobacterium strains. Those are the biggies. And of course, these probiotics are found in food sources. So kimchi, pickles, any pickled vegetable, tempeh, yogurt, kombucha, sauerkraut, also things like miso or sourdough bread, and kefir. However, when you're looking for a good probiotic, you need to keep in mind that heat can destroy them. Probiotics are live organisms, okay? And we need to keep them there so they are able to get into our gut and populate and reside and thrive. Passage of time is another thing that is really important. So when you're out looking for a good food source of these probiotics, non-pasteurized. So time to move on to prebiotics. Prebiotics feed our probiotics. They are food for our gut bacteria, and we need to be feeding our good gut bacteria, our good microbiome every day. So they basically come in a type of dietary fiber that is non-digestible by our bodies, but completely digestible by our gut bacteria. Again, there are two main strains. We have fructooligosaccharides and we have galactooligosaccharides, and they're just fun to say. So let's cover some common whole food sources on where we find prebiotics. We find them in onions, asparagus, chicory, garlic, leeks, wheat bran, bananas, legumes, apples, and cocoa would be some common sources. All right, let's move on. So when you hear kombucha, does that make you want to say God bless you? If none of this is familiar to you and you're like, wow, I'm totally missing out on this nutrition, it's okay. Don't be shamed about that. You're falling right in statistically on where the population sits. One study that I saw revealed that 27% of the population is getting in these vegetables in either category. And 29% of that population are getting in the fruits that contain these probiotics and prebiotics. And lo and behold, this is where supplementation comes in, because nobody can get it all in, which is why you may be struggling with symptoms of dysbiosis. So things like gas, bloating, IBS in the form of constipation or diarrhea, bad breath, weight gain when it's not intentional, any type of skin irritation, having low energy, fatigue, poor sleep, food intolerances, all the way up to autoimmune issues. These, in addition to more, are some signs of dysbiosis. And having these signs of dysbiosis go beyond our diet. Things like stress, poor sleep, antibiotic use, birth control or hormone use, environmental issues, and even genetics can play into this picture. So I'm sure this may lead to a question that you're having. What in the world defines a good probiotic then? That is a valid question. And like we talked before, diversity in these strains. So we need something that we know is going to get to our gut and populate that space, and we want a diverse strain of active bacteria. We also want at least 1 billion CFUs, preferably more. All right, it's time to move on to some PLEXUS. How does PLEXUS fill this nutritional gap? I'm gonna lay out 2 different products that fill this gap. So first, the probiotic part of it, VITALBIOME. VITALBIOME has got 8 different strains of good gut bacteria, to the tune of 20 billion CFUs per dose. Now that's what I'm talking about. And this is gonna play into decreasing GI symptoms. So gas, bloating, decreasing stress, increasing mood, and overall stabilizing our stress hormones. It helps promote relaxation, just this chill feeling, all while supporting a healthy immune system. And on the prebiotic side, Slim, the microbiome activating Slim. And now the microbiome activating probably makes a whole lot more sense to you, right? You understand that that means feeding our good gut bacteria, feeding our microbiome, because it's chock full of a good prebiotic fiber that is doing just that. All right, let's wrap this thing up. So I hope I have hit home the importance of a healthy microbiome and how this affects our body from even maybe before we're born all the way throughout our life. And it has so much to do with controlling our digestion of foods, our immune system, our central nervous system, and many, many other bodily processes, which is gonna lead into many more episodes of In the Pink. All right, you guys, thanks again for hanging with me till the very end. I hope this has laid some very basic groundwork for you understanding the importance of our microbiome and a healthy gut. And if you have no idea what I am talking about, I'm gonna list in that description box my PLEXUS link. Get on there, nose around, ask me some questions. Curiosity is gonna get you on this train every time. I'm also gonna list a playlist up here of our last series called Ingredient Throwdown. So if you like this type of content and want to go over specific products, it's all there. And you just might wanna join me here again next week, because we'll be going over something else to keep you in the pink.